Hey vinyl community and all my music loving friends, it's Mike MGK Boston back with another video. This week it's another contest entry. I did another one last week for the cheap and cheerful record collector contest for him. This seems to be the season for a lot of the YouTubers have these contests, and they give, you can win an Amazon gift card. That's not really what it's about for me. It's I just like answering the different questions. It's kind of something different. As I've said before, since I've been doing this the past year or so, I like to kind of create all my own themes. Once in a while I'll jump on a vinyl thread or subject that someone else has done, but for the most part I like to kind of create my own themes, and feel free to check out some of those on my channel, MGK Boston. This contest this week is a gentleman, calls his YouTube channel, Robert's on My Turntable. Just Robert's on My Turntable. So if you do a YouTube search, Robert's on My Turntable, hashtag vinyl community, it'll pop up. So his goal, he wants to get over 700 subscribers, and he's hoping this contest will push him over the edge. It looks like he's already just done that in the past couple of days. I was watching one of his videos yesterday, and it looks like he's hovering up around 710 plus. So anyway, Robert's on My Turntable. His contest is very simple. He wants us to name 5 albums that influenced you as a teenager, and why. So I won't say these selections influenced me. They certainly influenced my musical tastes, that's for sure. So I'm gonna walk through from, my kind of just preteen, when I was buying, like in middle school, I was just starting to buy albums. I was buying 45s before that, but then got in grade 7 and 8, right before high school, I was buying full-length albums only. So we'll kick things off with something I purchased from around that period. This is Peter Frampton Comes Alive. You've probably seen it a million times. One of the best-selling double live albums of all time, recorded in 1976, I believe across a few different venues. Of course, Peter Frampton, he'd been in a couple of bands at this point before he went solo. He was initially in a band called The Herd, and then, of course, he was in Humble Pie. And then this stretches out cool. There he is in his younger days. He's bald as me these days. He lost all those fine flowing locks, but he was looking good in the summer of 1976. It's a nice gatefold sleeve, but this one you can see, there he is and the other members of the band. Here they are. Nice liner notes with this, and yeah, this is still in really good shape. This is just a promo on the inside for the label. Not sure what label he was on here. He was on, looks like he was on A&M Records. So yeah, anyway, as I've said, you've probably all seen this album before, so you probably know all the highlights again. For me, I love Something's Happening. That kicks it all off. There's a short introduction at the beginning. It goes into Something's Happening. Show Me the Way, of course. Baby, I Love Your Way. I Want to Go to the Sun's great. This album is like one of those seasonal things for me. I associate this with the summer, hanging by the pool. Blasting, if you're into blasting some classic rock, this fits right in. Good party album. Doesn't see a lot of light of day on my turntable, but again, certain times you're in the mood, and then Frampton Comes Alive. 1976. All right, and again, from my early youth, probably 12, 13 years old, I was a huge Kiss fan. This was the follow-up. This is their 5th studio album and the follow-up to the Destroyer album. Rock and Roll Over, the title on this one. The release date on this one, I believe, also 1976. 76, great year for music, obviously. So, of course, they were on the Casablanca label. A lot of disco artists were on that label, too. Not a lot of heavy hitters on this one. I mean, Calling Dr. Love is really good. Some of the highlights for me, really, here, are Peter Criss, the drummer, because he could also sing. There's a famous ballad on the album Destroyer just before this. Well, I wouldn't say famous. Yeah, it was a charted single called Beth. You're probably familiar with that. And on this album, he sings 2 songs. He sings Baby Driver and Hard Luck Woman. There's Hard Luck Woman, and there's Baby Driver, both sung by Peter Criss, the drummer. See on the inside, of course, it's Kiss. I was in the Kiss Army for probably grade 5 through grade 8, and then I got out of that once I got as a freshman in high school. The glare here, there you can see, there's the Casablanca label. Pretty cool label, always like that. And of course you can see the Kiss logo there. So yeah, Kiss Rock and Roll Over, released in 1976. Again, their 5th studio album, and a heavy influence on me because I was a huge Kiss fan. I wanted to show that album. You don't see it a lot. Everybody always shows Destroyer and Kiss Alive, which are fine. But I just thought I'd show that. I was either that or Hotter Than Hell, so I picked that one. All right, so moving on. All right, getting into my teen years, as this was supposed to be 5 albums that influenced you as a teenager. So I'm going to show you the game changer here. That term gets thrown around a lot, but it applies in some cases. So when I was probably grade 9, around that period, I was 13, 14, myself and a couple of friends used to rent videos, VHS, from the local shop. I lived in a small town in Eastern Ontario, where I grew up in Canada. And we rented this movie on a lark. It was called the Punk Rock Movie. And at this point, as you can see, I was listening to stuff like Peter Frampton. I was into Journey and Kiss. Nothing really abstract or alternative or, you know, cutting edge, I guess you'd say, or new. So then along came this movie, the Punk Rock Movie, and it was like a 2-hour documentary showcasing bands like Susie and the Banshees, the Slits, the Damned, and of course these guys, the Sex Pistols. Never mind the Bullocks. Release date on this one, 1977. Of course, I heard it for the first time probably would have been 1981, 82 when I was in the 9th grade. So you can see all here. I always like this. It's kind of like a ransom note cutouts, you know, from newspaper for all the song titles. Of course, you know, right in the center, everybody knows God Save the Queen, Pretty Vacant, EMI. Posted the video for that on my Facebook page. Anybody watching this last night knows I like to post a lot of music on my Facebook page. Holidays in the Sun, another one on this one. I mean, it's all good front to back, every track. It plays pretty quick. It's only 30-35 minutes, full length if that, because it's a punk album. Every song's like 2.5 minutes. Excuse me. Of course, this is the Canadian pressing. This is not an original pressing by any stretch. We at Canada, Warner Brothers. You can see here. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Never mind the Bullocks, the Sex Pistols. So at this point, for me, totally changed my my taste in music at this point. I started listening to a university campus radio station where I ended up actually going to school when I finished high school up in Ottawa, Carleton University. There was a station there called CKCU-FM, still on the air, 93.1. Still playing a lot of great original material. And it's again, run by volunteers and students at the university. So that was my main source for where I'd hear music, and then I'd go to the city and buy a lot of alternative stuff. So that was what I was really into through my high school years, and as I went into university as well. That was my primary focus, was alternative with a splash of heavy metal, you could call it, at that point. I wanted to mention this. This isn't in my 5, but I should have shown this when I showed the Peter Frampton for continuity's sake, but here it is. This is a David Bowie album called Never Let Me Down. Just a little side trivia. Peter Frampton and David Bowie went to the same technical high school in the UK, in London, I guess. And as coincidence would have it, Peter Frampton's father was David Bowie's art instructor. So, Bowie was actually 3 years older than Peter Frampton. I don't know if they hung out at the time. I doubt it with the age difference, but just a little side trivia there again, that Frampton's father was David Bowie's art instructor at the technical high school they both attended. And then, of course, they did connect later on in life. 1987, David Bowie, the tour for this album, Never Let Me Down, again, the name of the album right there. Glass Spider tour, and Peter Frampton actually toured and played lead guitar on that whole tour, the Glass Spider tour, in 1987. I sadly missed that show in Ottawa, and it was a double bill with Duran Duran, I believe. And some of my friends from Eastern Ontario that watch my videos, I know probably attended that. I don't know why I didn't go to that. I don't know what I was thinking, but missed that one. But anyway, Peter Frampton on lead guitar with that David Bowie thing. So again, just a little side trivia. I like to inject that in my videos whenever I think it's applicable and yeah, and interesting at the same time. So here I am at number 4. This is The Police. There they are. There's Sting, of course, Stuart Copeland, and there's Andy Summers. lead guitarist, and of course Stuart Copeland, the drummer, and Sting playing bass and keyboards, and of course lead vocals. This is their third album, and arguably their best, I would say, in my opinion. I have all of the Police albums, all 5, and then a couple of the Police solo or Sting solo albums later on. This was the last album produced by Nigel Gray before they moved on with Hugh Padgham for Ghost in the Machine. And this was kind of the end of their original kind of raw, you could call it punk, reggae influences on this. Some of the songs, like the instrumentals, like Behind My Camel and The Other Way of Stopping, you don't hear about those, but you should seek those out, look those up on YouTube. They're out there. And there's, you know, of course, everything on this is good. Do-do-do-do, da-da-da-da. As I mentioned, Behind My Camel, Man in a Suitcase. You make the, when the world's running down, you make the best of what's still around. And of course, everybody knows Don't Stand So Close to Me. It doesn't even need mentioning. But there's a nice collage of the band right there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then on the inside, I think there's some more of the same photos on the inside. Of course, there's Andy Summers. And yeah, pretty cool. And yeah, there's Stu on his drum kit. So that the release date on that, 1980. Bought this when it came out. It's still in very good condition. I always take care of my stuff, so I'm good like that. So again, the Police, Zenyatta Mandata. Again, very influential album. I played that over and over again. I'm surprised I didn't wear it out. And then lastly, another new wave band from England. This is the Psychedelic Furs. This was their, I believe their fourth studio album. I have them all from this early period. Like they had a self-titled debut. There was Talk Talk Talk. And Forever Now was the one right before this. Forever Now had a single called President Gas. You can look that up, but I'm of course only showing one album because as Robert's on my turntable instructed, 5 albums. So that's what I'm going to keep it to. Go on about the Psychedelic Furs all afternoon, but I won't. There's Richard Butler, the lead vocalist, of course. I did see them in 1986. The tour after this, the album escapes me, with a band called The Mission opening up for them at that time, Mission UK. And there's some other members of the band on the back. Not much in the way of artwork on the inside, just a track listing and the personnel. Of course, you can see there's Richard Butler's name right there. He was the lead vocalist. And they're still around. They're still touring. I was watching a live cut the other day. Of course, they were on Columbia. There you go, Mirror Moves right there. That's side 1 with The Ghost in You, Here Come Cowboys, Heartbeat. Heaven was a huge single. Great video for Heaven if you want to look that up. In the heyday of MTV, and of course much music for my Canadian viewers. Heaven was played heavily during that time when this album came out in 1984. And again, title of this one, Psychedelic Furs, Mirror Moves. So that concludes my entry for Robert's on My Turntable. 5 influential albums from your teen years. Hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. It's hard to pick 5 because I was into so much music. Well, I'm still into so much music, so it's always hard if someone says, give me 5. It's like in the movie High Fidelity, John Cusack constantly making up lists of top 5 this, top 5 that with his colleagues in the shop, and that's why one of the things of that movie that made it enjoyable for me and humorous. Anyway, getting on and sidetracked here, so I'll conclude the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.